Hi guys, I just wanted to come on here and make a video because you want to know what? You want to know what's weird? There was some post, I was just on TikTok, I don't know if it's like real. I guess there were Republican lawmakers somewhere who wanted women who were pregnant or are pregnant. I don't really know how it works, but I guess they were trying to say that these women are like having abortions, which out there, but they were trying to say that when these women had abortions, that like the abortion is somehow ending up in people's drinking water, so they wanted them to use like something they were calling catch kits to like catch it. I don't know how that works, but like I'm assuming it just comes out because of like gravity, but it was like they were saying it was ending up in people's toilets. I always thought when they had an abortion, like when people have abortions, because I've never done it, but no shade, because like if they do, they shouldn't want to have a kid. But I always assumed that it was like a surgery where like they just take it out. But I guess it's not. But like the point is, no shade, like if they don't want to have a kid, like they just should not be having a kid, because then they're just gonna abuse the kid if they didn't want the kid. Like they're just gonna abuse the kid if they didn't want the kid, and it could have reincarnated somewhere else because it's just gonna have a different lifetime if those parents just decided they're not gonna have it. Like, oh, maybe it went to the wrong place and they're just gonna like reincarnate it somewhere else. Like, it, first of all, reel it back. You would be requiring a god that is so unintelligent that it would just accidentally send the kid to the wrong place. Like, by accident, like it could not get reincarnated somewhere else. Like, people believe in like a wasteful god, right? A god that would have created a human body as like a one-time use, and like a soul as like a one-time use, right? If it was alive and then dies and goes to heaven, like a lot of people can't do math. I don't know if they think that it never being born means the soul doesn't exist, and that's what they're so paranoid about. Or like why would a god create a soul as a one-time use thing? Are you a one-time use thing, or are you somebody who's having an experience right now who might someday have a different experience, the same way you're sitting here and having some kind of experience, and then tomorrow you're gonna have a different experience, and that doesn't mean that you never had this experience, and it doesn't mean you're never gonna have that one, and it doesn't mean that if it ended you could not just go have a different experience. Like, it's not that hard. But a lot of people can't really do math. They can't figure out if they exist, and they can't really figure out if they have any autonomy within themselves existing, and it's so confusing for them. You believe in a god that's so unintelligent that like it wouldn't, like if a god wanted that person to have a human lifetime and the person got an abortion, do you think the god would just have such little investment in whether or not the thing that they wanted to cause and create happened? That's not really a god. I think a god has so much like passion and love for whatever they are creating, whether it's positive or negative. They have so much love for like the experiment they're causing, you know? They wouldn't be like, oh, you're right, humans, we're not gonna do that one. You're right, that soul doesn't need to exist. A lot of people have this thing where they think like the soul exists because of the human body. So like a human body equals soul, but if they never got their human body because they didn't get to be born, then like the soul's dead. Like, I don't know if they even think it goes to heaven. Like, I don't know what they think. I think that's what they're so worried isn't gonna happen or whatever. So I think they think that like if it's born and then it's tortured and it dies, that at least it goes to heaven. I don't think they have like the mind to like do gymnastics to find out whether or not it ever existed to begin with. The belief in the soul is so weak that, like, anyway, I'm just gonna put this on my face because I'm gonna take off my rings though, because I don't want to have to like wash my hands after. Like, I hate when I have rings on and I have like face products like on my hands at the same time. Not the point. But so you want to know, these lawmakers are trying to have this bill that they're hoping to pass, apparently. I don't know if it's a real post because like they're like, it can't be, but like it looked like it was just legit. But like, oh no, only because it's so stupid and implies a lot of really weird stuff. But let's get into it. So logic in the situation is going over everybody's head. They are trying to say, if a woman were to like have an abortion on a toilet, because I guess again that's like what they're saying, I don't know, but they're saying that like if that goes down the toilet, now I know what you're saying, you're probably like, oh, it's the plumbing. No, they're actually saying the reason they want the women to have a catch kit to like catch it so it doesn't go down the toilet is because it's ending up in people's drinking water. And they said the only way that human remains are ending up in everybody's drinking water, apparently, everywhere, is because it must be coming from the abortions. Now, if that's where it's coming from, that means anything that goes down the toilet can be in your drinking water. Now, I am pretty fast to not believe it, or there's a few things that could be going on, right? If it were happening, by now, we would have already found out about it, because that means anything that can be biologically attacking the human vessel would have been catchable through drinking water everywhere, which means every type of, don't forget, women have like a menstrual cycle, so there's blood in the toilet. Wow, surprise. Like, across the whole planet. You're never going to have it set up to where blood from every woman on the planet is freely like ending up in everybody's drinking water, because you would every single day, somebody would be testing positive for every single disease that can be passed, you guessed it, through blood. We would be finding out because, oh, they were not intimate with anybody, there were no needles involved, yet, oh, they fell victim to like every single health problem that can be transmitted through blood. Because women do have a cycle where they're just gonna be like bleeding, and you want to know where that goes? In the toilet. That's where the blood comes out of. That's where it goes. Yeah, they have like products, but like if they're peeing, it's just the blood is in the toilet. And women like pee as much as everybody else pees, like which means it's like all that blood went down the toilet, but if that's every single woman, you know, so many of them also, every you know, every few people or whatever, I don't know how common it is, but there would be people who were falling victim to like, they'll be like, oh yeah, they weren't sexually active, there were no needles involved, like they haven't like been to the hospital, like they weren't exposed to something, you know, but like their blood was contaminated with somebody else's blood through the human like orifices. I don't know, can't they catch it through like drinking it? I don't know, but like I'm assuming there's some that you would be able to catch through drinking it. So it means a few things. That also, the other thing you would have happen all the time is people would be just dying, like just so there was this insane asylum in, I don't know if it was the 1800s or like early 1900s, right? Like very like turn of the century back then, and a bunch of people died because they were exposed to like human feces. but it wasn't even something they were like eating, it was like in the floor or something. But because they were in close proximity, they caught, like, I forgot what it's called, but there's like a contagion they caught just because they were like several feet away from it. And it was like under the floor or like in the floor, like, and they just died like out of nowhere. Like it was like a week later they died or something. And they were like, we don't know why, but everybody who lives in this room, like a week later they die. Like, but they kept sending people to the room because they were like, it's not our fault. Like, we sanitized everything, we don't know, but it was like in the floor or like under the floor. So we would have people come down with a mysterious illness and just drop dead out of nowhere. But that would be happening so often because most people's immune systems are not built to be exposed to biological contamination, which is why they have so many methods of preventing that. So not only is it not happening, or it's such a tiny amount that we would never have to find out about it because it's not a thing. Like, people would be getting STDs from like from the blood in water. Like, actually though, like that's actually possible if the contamination thing was real. Or they would be dropping dead from like human waste being even within like feet of them, especially water is like you're consuming it. So you would have people just on the street dropping dead, and it would not be like 4 people out of millions. It would be like, oh, 4 million people like died yesterday, we don't know why. Like, it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be like, oh, that never happens. It would be like showing us how weak the human immune system is if it were happening. It's just like the human immune system is not built to handle like a lot of biological contaminations usually, because like I know we have like, you know, more like modern medicine and stuff, like they could treat it, but they would not not know what's happening. Like, with no evidence, did they just wire everybody's like toilet to somebody else's drinking water? Like in the neighborhood, like you poop and it's going into somebody else's mouth in the other side of the city? Is that where they get their water? Like, we would know by now. If that were true, we would just know by now, because they would have died and it would have been your fault or something. Like, and you know, I'm assuming some of the blood-borne diseases are as common as they're saying. I don't know, can't it be like, if it's like through the mouth, like they can still get it? I think it is. I think that's why they're always like, if you work at a restaurant, whatever, like if they cut their finger, like it could still happen, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that's literally a thing. It's literally a thing. Like, I swear this is a thing. But also, there would not have been an insane asylum with like a bunch of people who died just because they were not ingesting the human feces. It was in the floor. And they were not like laying on top of the floor, like it was like across the room. And they died because they breathed in a tiny bit of the contamination. It was like through the air that it got into their system, into their body, probably because of saliva and stuff, you know what I mean? Or like their lungs, but like because the inside of the body's wet. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is how the human body is. It would not be weird if people dropped dead, or like, because you can, there's no, if what they're saying is true and somebody's abortion is really going down the toilets out there, which, I mean, that kind of makes sense, but like, then it would still be handled, like that's physical matter, so when it's filtered, hard things go here, liquid goes here. If they do any kind of filter, which again, they would not be able to, reclaimed waste is normally like, I think just your garden, like you're watering your like tomatoes or something and it happens. So I don't know. I think we just never see people fall victim to it. I think our timeline just doesn't have to go that way a lot of the time. You know, we don't really hear about, oh, you were eating like vegetables from someone's garden and you died. Like, we don't really hear about that. They're trying to make sure they protect you. So when somebody else flushes their toilet, the part that goes into your drinking water is only their poop and not their human body parts. They want to make sure you're not technically a cannibal when you drink water, but that all of their other waste is still in there. What? But they're trying to say that it's always been that way. So we're just mystical beings that we're still alive because we're facing all of that contamination that historically people have always just died from. You're not supposed to be exposed to like other people's waste like that all the time because again, if they have any disease you don't have, you're just probably gonna get it. Like what though? It seems like this could all actually be resolved so easily, and it's called making sure their poop is not like in somebody's kitchen and they don't even know that person and it's just through the sink, you know? Can't believe this has to be explained, but nobody's gonna hear me. Nobody's gonna hear me. And of course the comment sections are like stupid too. Like nobody's catching the fact they said whatever goes down the toilet is gonna be in your coffee the next morning. Like nobody's catching that. Nobody's you order tap water at a restaurant and someone's abortion is in there. Someone's pee is like half the cup. Like that's what they're proposing is happening. Or it wouldn't, first of all, like if it's a risk to you that you're becoming a cannibal because you're drinking water, it just kind of doesn't make sense at all. It means that they don't care that you were drinking somebody else's poop for the last 20 years or something, or the last 40 years. That's what it means. So they're either lying and playing in your face, or this is the first time they're letting you know you've been drinking poop your whole life and it's from another person in your neighborhood from 3 hours ago. So good luck. It just doesn't make sense. Like, historically we would have all been dead by now. So, science isn't real. Abortions are probably going to heaven. Like, whether or not, or they're reincarnating and you really don't have to worry about it because it's really not your business why that one died. Like, I don't know why. Whatever. If you're siding with the Republicans on this and you're not questioning why you have been drinking poop your whole life, your priorities, this is a great opportunity to see how magical it is that you're still alive, you know? How meant to be it is that, like, you're so invincible because for some reason, if you're not testing positive for some diseases, then congratulations. We're all meant to be here for whatever reason, just to find out about this. Yeah. You would think they would just get like a better filter if they didn't want the solid objects to be what's currently going into the drinking water though, because that seems a little bit like, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't even want them to put the liquid in there because what is that? Obviously, but like, let's be real, the planet is not amazing, but we're still alive. Anything else? I don't think so. Just another thing you don't really get to be in control of there's really no such thing as that, or we would not be alive. They're just using what you don't know and what's not going to occur to you to win. But why? Like, it doesn't really make sense. Why desire them having a catch kit? Right? I guess it doesn't matter. Because, like, what, are they going to be embarrassed? They're already just doing the process. Like, they're probably not going to be embarrassed. They're going to be happy they didn't have a kid. There's probably nothing embarrassing about just being happy they didn't have a kid. Like, I think if people really just desire to not have a kid, they are going to care more about not having a kid than whether the process is a little embarrassing of not having one. But, you know, can't even open the chapstick, or not chapstick, lip gloss. I'm just gonna use a different one. I don't know where they are though. But yeah. I don't know. Are people just showing up with like diseases and it doesn't make sense, and like, you know, I don't know. But I love you guys. Bye.